Beloved Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, I told you guys I was going to do a video about the Euro and some of my thoughts, which I will. I promise I will. But, you know, we keep getting little bits of news relating to, you know, sort of the squad next year that I think are kind of important. I didn't want to let those slip through the cracks. So let me give you guys just a very quick update. You guys may have run into some of this, but we'll talk about Nacho. You know, we've been wondering for months what was going to happen with Nacho. It looks like, you know, we now have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about Vini briefly and this sort of ego power trip offer by PSG. We'll also talk about Alonso Davies because in the last sort of 48 hours, that story seems to be heating up again, which is, you know, pretty important. Then we'll talk about a young French center back by the name of Leny Yoro, who plays in Lille. I want to tell you about the situation there, which is potentially quite interesting. And then finally, I'm going to leave you guys with just an anecdote about Roger Federer. He gave a speech at Dartmouth, a commencement speech at an American university, and I just want to just share a couple of thoughts about what he discussed there. But anyway, welcome back to the channel. I will do the Euro one, I promise, but I just wanted to get some of this stuff out of the way. So welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being with me. Let's get started. Right, Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, let's talk about some of these little bits of news that are out, which are pretty important with a view towards next year. So first, let's talk about Nacho because, you know, he's been such a pivotal, incredibly important player the last couple of years. And obviously for the last few months, you're wondering, you know, what's he going to do? You know, we tried to get info out of him so many times. Reporters tried to get him to say something, but he would never really say anything. Even in the celebration at the Bernabeu, you know, the 90,000 people were screaming, you know, Nacho quédate, Nacho quédate. You know, we've been trying to get him to stay. But look, the latest news, and it looks like there is something to this. The latest word is that he is going to go to Saudi Arabia to actually join Benzema's team called Al Ittihad. And so, you know, that's the rumor that it would be a 2-year deal worth about between 40 and 50 $1 million net per season. So it's a, you know, significant chunk of money. Now, listen, you know, we have to be fair on Nacho. We'd all love to see him stay, but, you know, let's be fair. He's 34 years old. He's had an entire career at Real Madrid. He has given everything and brought us so much glory. I mean, this guy's walking away at the, you know, like Tony, right? He's walking away at the peak of his powers with 6 European Cups in his bag, which is just something nobody ever thought would even be humanly possible. He played at an incredible level the last couple of years and was just so important, especially with the injuries we had last year. So, look, all I can say is, you know, Nacho, you know, gracias por todo, eres un campeón, you know, thank you for everything you've done for the club, and, you know, he will be forever loved in this place. So it was sad to see him go, but it looks like this is going to happen. Sad to see him go, but absolutely understand this is generational type money, and, you know, he has earned the right to do whatever he wants with all of our love and respect. So Nacho looks like we'll be going to Saudi Arabia. Now, very quickly, we'll just talk about Vini because, you know, there have been sort of rumors out there that PSG are going to offer something like, you know, 250 million just to transfer him to PSG. Now, honestly, I don't know how much there is to this. I don't really know who's leaking it. I mean, they might be leaking it for all I know. But I really think this is an ego-driven thing. I don't think this has anything to do with, you know, when it comes to PSG, like, money is never the issue. But, you know, ego and pride is. And I think that they're still really sore about Kylian coming to Madrid. So I think this is just a bit of smoke and mirrors. I think very much just them trying to vindicate their own ego, because, you know, Al Khalifi, I think, is a guy that has a pretty touchy ego. So I wouldn't, you know, I would dispel it. Even if the offer were real, you know, Vini is not going to accept it. So anyway, in case you had heard about those rumors, I would just not worry about them. Now, the Alonso Davies thing is interesting because, you know, that had gone quiet for a few weeks, but in the last 48 hours, it's picking up steam again. Now, don't forget, Alonso Davies has a contract until next summer, right? 2025 at Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern has, you know, from what we're told, presented to him their final and best renewal offer. And he didn't sign it. So the word is that Alonso Davies has rejected it. So in theory, he would stay one more year at Bayern Munich. But of course, if you're Bayern, this puts you in a bit of a pickle. It's kind of a catch-22 because if you wait another year, Alfonso Davies will leave and you won't get any money. If you sell him now, as much as it might upset you, at least Bayern would be able to make some money out of the transaction. So Real Madrid is really negotiating from a position of power here. He's only 23 years old. I mean, we could wait another year if we wanted. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But for a reasonable price, I think we would probably pay up and bring him now. So, again, I think we're in a strong position here. I do think this could happen. I think I would give it about a 65% probability of this happening. He's 23 years old. Look at his profile. Mendy did a wonderful job defending, and I think pound for pound as a defender, you could argue that Mendy is certainly equal to, maybe even better. But Alfonso Davies brings something that, Mendy doesn't. I mean, Alfonso Davies is one of the fastest players in the world. When he comes up on the left wing, I mean, he is very dangerous, dribbles very well, just a very intelligent player on the offensive side as well. So, and he's very young. Don't forget, Mendy is now 29. So this makes a huge amount of sense. I think that if Bayern were willing to let him go for a reasonable number, call it 40, 50, something like that, I think it would make sense for them to sell and for us to buy. So the Alfonso Davies thing is back on the table, and I think it looks very doable. And then I also want to mention you may have come across the name Leny Yoro. So this is an 18-year-old center back who plays in Lille. Now, I've been hearing this name for months. I mean, maybe even more than a year, just kind of in, YouTube and articles, etc. So Real Madrid has had their eye on this kid for a while. Okay, he's only 18 years old. And, it's a similar situation to Alonso Davies. So this kid has a contract until 2025, next summer. But Lille has already, made a statement saying that if they got a good offer, that they would consider it. So Lille, they're prepared to play ball. Now, initially, they were asking something to the tune of 70 million, which is way too much for an 18-year-old kid who only has a year left on his contract. Then they sort of lowered it to 60. Look, I think Lille is in the same catch-22 position as Bayern with Alfonso Davies. You can get some money now, or you're going to lose them, next summer. So, again, I think this could happen. If you really, and I think it could happen on our terms. Like, if you look at our defense, we have a very young squad, but the defensive line is the oldest one because, Rudiger is 31. We need a natural rotation here. Rudiger's 31. Nacho's 34. Okay, he's going to go. Alaba is 31. Mendy is 29. Carvajal is 32. So these guys are amazing players, and they still have a lot of football in their boots. But we do need to start thinking about that change of cycle. So I think the arrival of Leny Yoro, 18 years old, and Davies at 23, I think would be a fantastic fit and a very natural kind of transition to a younger group of players. So, listen, I just want to give you guys an update on all of that. And then finally, one thing that I want to recommend you guys, I don't know if I put the link in the description, but it's easy to find. Roger Federer gave a commencement speech at the graduation at Dartmouth. Dartmouth is one of the sort of, very elite Ivy League universities in the U.S. But it was really interesting to hear some of the things he said because he just... in this channel, we talk a lot about the values of Real Madrid and what Madridismo means. And I've bored you guys to death in the past talking about the things that I, sort of explained to my sons as well. Things like, work and sacrifice and humility and, giving 100% and never giving up. And it's really fascinating. If you listen to this speech by Federer, there's just so much Madridismo in his message. And I do have a faint recollection of him being at the Palco in the Bernabeu and taking pictures with a lot of our players. So I think he might be a secret Madridista. But have a look at that speech because it's really, really fascinating. He says, everybody in my whole career told me that it was so easy for me and it looked effortless and was I even trying? And he says that, that really irritates him because he worked so hard to make it look easy. So he talks a lot about those Madridista values that we've discussed on this channel many times. So I just thought it was kind of cool and thought you guys might want to look at that. But anyway, listen, I just wanted to get you guys up to speed on those latest data points. I will come back to you with that Euro video, I promise. But anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for joining me as always. And thanks for the comments and the likes and all that. But I'll see you in the next video. And as always, love you guys. And as always, a la Madrid.